Many thanks for staying with us. It's still the conversation, and of course, this is the Lagos segment. Today's topic is one that speaks directly to every Lagosian, whether you're stuck in traffic for hours dealing with irregular power supply or struggling to find affordable housing. The signs are all around us. Lagos State is growing at a rapid pace, while some say we're adding thousands of new residents every single day. But what happens when population growth is more than infrastructure development? Can our roads, housing, hospitals, and public services keep up? What does this mean for planning, governance, and even the private sector? To explore these questions, we have Mr. Taiwo Olapade. He is a respected media practitioner with decades of experience reporting urban development and civic matters. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ma, for having me.
So let's begin with this context here. Lagos is not just Nigeria's commercial nerve center. It's Africa's fastest growing city. But I want you to tell me, why is Lagos attracting such a large, number of people, on, should I say on a daily basis or by the minute?
Well, thank you so much. The reason is not far-fetched because let's start from the beginning. Lagos was created on May 27, 1967. That was when Nigeria was restructured into 12 states. And we also recall, we have it on record that in 1976, the FCT was also moved from Lagos, Lagos was also then the Federal Capital Territory until that same 1976 when Abuja was decided as the FCT, but eventually the FCT was moved from Lagos to Abuja in 1991. So, just like I said, the reason why we see influx of people coming into Lagos, not just daily basis, hourly basis, is not far-fetched because Lagos is the smallest in size in the country with, I think, about 3,345 kilometers square, thereabouts. But in terms of population, the population is still growing. We are talking about 25 million and above, thereabout. And we also have it on record in 2006, thereabout. The population of Lagos then was around about briefly above 9 million. But today,
we are,
how many are we looking at? Unfortunately, it has not grown in size. But you now imagine the same states that inhabit about 9 million thereabout in 2026. Now also it's that same states without any expansion per se now served as a home to more than 25 million people.
Over 20
million. Of course, we can call it population explosion. And sincerely, when you have a large concentration of people, it's supposed to be a blessing in disguise. Okay. But in this regard, it's very challenging, whether we like it or not. And that's why we have this development plan of Lagos State, I think about, is it 50 years? Okay, 30 years. Between 2022 to 2052, thereabouts. And the aim is to ensure that Lagos really comes out in this mega city status. Okay. Because the essence of being a mega city is where any city where we have a population of more than 10 or 15 million thereabouts is assumed to be a mega city. And that's why...
should be given the special status.
Yes. I was even coming to that. And that's why, whether we like it or not, whoever governs Lagos must know that it has a lot of work to do compared to any other state of the federation. Because just like we said in the intro, we are not even talking about on a daily, on a hourly. Just go to Beggar and see the influx of people, and we can say for convenience that out of maybe like about 5,000 that comes into Lagos on a daily basis, I'm not sure that about 500 of them return to their base thereafter. So you ask the question, all these people that comes in, where do they sleep?
Where
do they walk? Where do they, so is indeed a big challenge for whoever is the governor of Lagos State at any point in time.
Okay, some have even said that, when you're governing Lagos, you're not governing a state.
You are governing countries.
You're governing,
that are even in West Africa sub-region. You can put all about the population of about 5-6 countries together. It's not up to the population of Lagos.
Okay, talking about migration of people now, should we be more concerned about the internal migration from states or international migration, which we seem to overlook? Because just this morning we have one of our news points, we talked about the federal government, bringing a clampdown on foreigners who overstay. Why is it not being looked into earlier than today?
Well, the bottom line is just like the Trump 2.0, the return of President Trump to the Oval Office in the U.S. We know it's part of his policy, the migration, that people who does not have documents or who have overstayed their visa in the U.S. must return to their country. And sincerely, when he was campaigning to return to the White House, his agenda was America first. Let's get America back. So you can't really blame him. However, even as big as America is today, most of those who built America are not even Americans. There are people from all other countries from the world, and that's why we call it United States of America. They are immigrants from all over part of the world, and that's why America is what it is today. So migration is something like you can never stop people from moving. It's like moving from one place to the other. But the question that we must ask or interrogate is, are you migrating legally or are you migrating illegally? So if it's legally, you can't say no to people coming into your country or into your state, so long they have the document that back they are coming into your country, and they are not coming into your country to perpetrate evil or to perpetrate violence. So you have to welcome them. The same way we Nigerians also travel to countries around the world. What we are saying in this regard is, and what the government is also trying to do under the Minister for Interior, Mr. Olubimi Ojo, is to ensure, and that was necessitated by the influx of some foreigners from neighboring countries because of the nature of, because of the porous nature of our borders, because of the insecurity that is plaguing the country. That's why they are saying that everybody must have a normal paper to come into the country, and if you have overstayed, they give them, I think, a kind of amnesty for them to return back to their country, or they are deported. That is done all over the world. Okay. You can't stay in the country without having or regularized your paper, as the case may be. That means you become an illegal immigrant. Okay,
we're talking about Lagos' growing population, of course, and the impact on infrastructure. And the one that is most talked about now is traffic congestion. We have this traffic everywhere, and and how do you think that government intervention when it comes to transport and traffic management in Lagos has made a clear difference in managing traffic in Lagos?
Well, just like you said earlier, in every mega cities of the world, you see traffic. Even in New York, in Joburg, Johannesburg, in Cairo, every major mega cities in the world, there is bound to be traffic. However, the manner in which we also manage such traffic, the traffic bottleneck or the traffic congestion, as the case may be, is what could be different. And that's why we see intermodal traffic transportation system in Lagos State. You see the water, you see the blue rail, you see the light rail, you see the red rail. I think there's another one called green rail.
Yeah, we're lost count of green rail. We have brown, we have
so a city like Lagos need dynamism,
Okay.
particularly in terms of social amenities and infrastructure, because the population is growing astronomically. So that means the infrastructure must also keep with the pace at which the population is growing. Okay. Otherwise, there will be issues, there will be crises. So that's why for a state like Lagos, a mega city like Lagos, the governor, what I would like to know, must not even go to sleep at 12 o'clock. He must walk around the clock. Because yes, the governor cannot go to sleep because of these challenges that you have put on the front burner. He must not go to sleep. He must not go to sleep because you have about 25 to 30 million population to deal with. Where do they sleep? How do they commute? How do they eat? And that's why, you know, sometimes we are challenged with open defecation because of the grain, because most of these people, some of them, they don't have a place to hide their head at night.
Okay, we'll be coming to environmental issues.
Okay.
The issue of rail transportation and, of course, water transportation, have they made a clear difference in easing traffic in Lagos?
Of course, to a large extent.
Okay.
To a large extent.
How?
And I will quickly share an example. During my early days in journalism, there was an assignment that I was supposed to cover at Apapa, and I got to CMS. I was talking to myself that I'm late already because, you know, the whole Apapa, talking about 20-something years ago, I had an assignment, you know, and I was late. So I got to CMS, I was talking to myself, and somebody just overheard me and said, guy, so you are going to Apapa. That's Apapa in your front. And that was my first experience to take a ferry. I was thinking of, I was already late for that assignment. And I quite all right if I have to commute on the road, it will take me another maybe 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minutes to get to my destination, which already I was late. And the person said, that is Apapa in your front, as if the person was an angel sent to me by God. And I quickly summoned the courage. Of course, I have phobia for water, but I summoned that courage. Within 5 minutes from CMS, we've crossed to the other side. It was like a magic to me. So if government really showcase the water transportation, I see no reason why. And Lagos is a state of aquatic splendor. It's surrounded by water. We have the Atlantic, we have the regular water and the like. So if government, we have seen much of investment. We have seen how many jetties being built by this administration, the old administration, and it still continues. So we have seen much of intermodal transportation system coming into place. Okay. And that's the beauty of one of the features of a mega city. If not, we can all be on the road at the same time. Exactly. And that's what results in this traffic bottleneck, traffic lockdown, because ordinarily, that means we are not making maximum and effective use of other means of transportation like a rail. Thank God we are having all this the rail network. You can see people from Badagry coming to CMS within like about 25 minutes. They're in Badagry. You can't do that on the road. You will spend at least roughly about 3-4 hours. Now it has been shortened till about 20-25 minutes. That's the beauty of mega city. And that's why I said whoever is the governor of the state at any point in time, particularly Lagos, you must not go to sleep.
Not go to sleep.
That's it.
Okay, another critical area is access to basic amenities such as power supply, clean water, and of course waste disposal, which you mentioned earlier. What has been the impact of the population boom on these, utilities I have mentioned?
Well, whether we like it or not, I did mention open defecation the other time, and I recall that at the time the government set up this task force against open defecation. And I know that at the time I also covered some of their briefing when people are being arrested and taken to mobile court and found guilty and whether to serve the community service. Most of them are not really sent to jail per se, except in a few instances.
So you think the penalties are not penalties are not
Yes.
stiff enough?
No, not that they know that they are not stiff enough, but we know that our prisons are also congested, whether we like it or not.
Everywhere is congested.
Just like everywhere is also congested, and that's we are talking about the mega city, a state that has population and is growing of over 20 million, 25 million thereabouts. So, in terms of social amenities, government must do more in this regard. Particularly, we need more of public toilets. And that's why government also came up with this law that even our public utilities like restaurants, banks, should also be a place for people to walk in. Yeah. And because of the population is growing, and whether we like it or not, most of these infrastructures are also overstretched. They are overstretched. And that's why we're also seeing various housing projects all around the states, because these are the common infrastructure that people are much in need of. Housing, shelter, very, very important. We talk about also transportation, talk about also health facility, talk about also water, very, very important. These are some of the amenities that must be present.
We really have to talk about water in Lagos, because many people have resorted to dredging or digging their own boreholes. You can hardly find a place.
Also patronize the malams that we call them Merua.
Merua, why is it that, of course, we know overpopulation and all of that, but in a mega city like Lagos, why is it so difficult to have pipe-borne water in our homes?
Sincerely, this is $1 million question. Because when we are growing up, we used to drink water from the tap like this.
We used to put our mouth.
We used to drink water from the tap, and very clean, potable water. But suddenly, I can't really trace which year or which administration, and I'm sure this focus is not to trade blame or whatever, but to find solutions. So it's part of what I said, that whoever governs Lagos must not go to sleep, because it's a state that comes with so much of dynamism because of the emerging population. The governor must roll up the sleeve at every point in time. What next should I do? You remember when the former governor Fashola came into looking so young, looking so handsome, but at the point he started, people are like wondering. And when we interviewed the man said because of the challenging, in governance, because you people, you are outside, you don't know what the governor faced. So many things to think about. When you think, sometimes you even forget yourself, forget about your family, because you have 25 million people to cater for. That alone you can develop a migraine if you are not careful. So for a state like Lagos, whether we like it or not, we must continue to be dynamic in terms of infrastructural development. It must not stop.
It must not stop.
And that's why we have this development plan of about 30 years between 2022 to about 2052. It must continue to grow. Government comes, government go. But this, because it's a state policy, government is continuum. Whoever comes in after Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu must also continue from where he stops. The same way he also kicked off from where Governor Akinwumi Ambode stopped. So that's what governance is all about. And the essence of governance by section, I think 14 of our 99 Constitution as amended is protection of life and welfare of the people. So that's the essence of being in government.
Okay, we must give kudos to the Ministry of the Environment and its amiable Commissioner Tokunbo Wahab, in all he's doing to ensure we have a clean and safe environment. I'm talking about waste management now, which is also still an issue in Lagos. Do you think this waste management system we're running now is still sustainable for a population of over 20 million people in Lagos?
Well, in terms of waste management, I think we still have much of work to do, because Loma is trying. We have to give it to Loma. And again, just like you also mentioned, the Commissioner for Environment, Mr. Tokunbo, is a no-nonsense person. Recently, they shot the almighty Okoba Agege Abattoir because of unwholesome practices and violations of state environmental laws. So I don't know when last that place was shut down. The man closed the place down. And we know that they slaughtered more than 10,000 cows on a daily basis at that Okoba Agege. So imagine how Lagosians have survived in the last about 4 or 5 days, that place was under lock and key.
Okay.
Because of the violations of the environmental laws. But it is good that the commissioner did that, because we Nigerians, we are people like, if we are not sanctioned, if we are not punished, sometimes we continue to do things the other way around. And because there is no deterrence, that's why we have so much of corruption in our system. That's why we have so much of like, I can do it and get away with it. So, but if you have people who have been used as an example to others, definitely we all take caution and know that there's a new sheriff in town. There's somebody who's watching. And we know that if you violate any law, the police is there to arrest, and the court is also there to also apply a sanction as the case may be. So we need to do more, because whether we like it or not, we cannot also expect government to do it alone.
As a people,
yes,
residents?
I'm coming to that now.
Okay.
We must also inculcate the habit of personal hygiene. If you think you are helping government, we are helping ourselves. If we litter our environment, Governor Sanwo-Olu doesn't live where I live. So it will affect me. It won't affect you. But as a governor, it takes care of every population of the states. That's the mandate that has been given to him. And that's the oath of office that he took. Welfare of the people, protection of life and property. But we as citizens, we must also inculcate that habit of also helping government. By helping government, we're also helping ourselves. But in a case where people continue to violate the law, the law should be applied in that regard. People should be sanctioned to serve as, because some of us are also very dirty. You see people putting refuse on the medians of the road. And when there is rainfall, the same refuse, when there is rain, some people,
that is when they come out with their waste. The
commissioner also showcased some people who are arrested, you know, dumping refuse because there was rainfall. And when there is blockade, when there is a flood, you also complain that government has not cleared the drains, they have not cleared the drainage. Whereas the drainage were blocked because of our own unfriendly attitude to our environment. So we need more of sanction in that regard, whether we like it or not. And I'm happy that Mr. Tokunbo Wahab, the Commissioner on Environment, is taking the lead in that direction.
Okay, you said something earlier when we started on the environment. You said, oh, Loma is trying, you know. And that depicts that, you know, the more needs to be done, you know, by the agency. You know, is there anything that you suggest that they can do in order to sustain waste management or improve on it for this over-explosive population?
Whether we like it or not, it's always work in progress. Not government, even in the US. No, even President Trump, he can't do it all alone, and he can't complete whatever project, whether in 4 years or whether in 8 years. You will do your bit, and people will celebrate you if indeed you have done well. You will do your bit and leave. And your successor will also take it off from there. But okay, I was at Yaba Market yesterday, and sincerely, I sent a message to the Commissioner for Environment. If he's watching now, they need to go to Yaba opposite the NLC building. If you see the mountain of refuse, and people are eating, people are buying stuff, people are, all this fried, very common now. You see fried yam, you see fried, all fry. And people are buying, queuing. I just walked through.
By the heap of refuse?
Yes, by the heap of refuse. And the refuse are taking over almost half of that road. I couldn't imagine it. And these refuse were not dumped by ghosts. Were also dumped there by the people who live around, or by the people who do business around that place. How can you do that? How can you do that? And that doesn't mean that there is no truck there for people to, you know, to really dispose this refuse. But people just deliberately put the refuse on the road. I'm saying on the road. It's still there. I was there. I passed through the place yesterday. I had to cover my, I couldn't, and people were there selling. People were shopping. People were buying fried akara, fried yam on the road. I couldn't stand it. So these are also unwholesome attitude or practices of we. Government cannot do everything, and you don't expect government to be everywhere. So we must also police ourselves. If you see a brother, if you see a family or a friend or neighbor that is doing something that is bad, you have to caution it. You have to raise alarm. And that's why they tell us, if you see something, you say something. Because in the long run, we all are in for it. In the long run, it's coming back to us. You know, that refuse was not dumped in that middle of the road by ghost. It was by one people, and you know, if you start, you know, mountain growing, you dump your own this morning, in the afternoon somebody else comes and I see it's a dump, and it's not a refuse dump. So why? And there is a truck allocated for such, but people just unilaterally violate the law and do things. And if government comes and shut down that market, they'll be shouting, they don't want us to eat. Or if government is against one ethnic group, or is against one, you know, people people will start giving reason that does not really hold water. So we must also help government as government is helping us. And like I want to reiterate, government can't do everything alone. Even in the US, we must also cultivate because we are all even government. Whether we like it or not, we may have a governor, we may have a president, but we also have responsibility as Nigerians. We have responsibilities as Nigerians to also ensure that we also play our role in the overall benefit and betterment of all of us as citizens of this country.
Okay. We're still talking about the environment now. Of course, we're in the rainy season, and of course, you know, this comes with a lot of flooding, despite the fact that, you know, government has, you know, embarked on some desilting of these drains. As a people, you know, what are we supposed to do?
Well, as a people, just like I said, if you see something, you say something. There are times that whenever people notice that it was going to rain, they prepare to also dump this refuse in the rain or in the gutter or in the drainage, believing that it will take it maybe to the lagoon or to a bigger channel. It is not. At a point, there will be a blockade. And when there is a blockade, water will always find its level. It's always water. Naturally, the drain or the drainage is meant from one drainage, take it to another drainage, and now to a bigger canal and the likes. But when a drainage or a small channel is blocked and the water cannot go, that same water will also come back to us. So we must be very, very careful, particularly this rainy season. We don't want to experience what we saw in the year, I think 2013, where there was so much of massive flooding in around. We saw what happened in Kobwa, in Niger State. We saw that rain. We saw that rain, and we saw how many people were killed. They were still picking bodies 2-3 days later, because it also came in the night when people were asleep. So we don't want to witness that, whether in Lagos or even any part of the country. And NIMET has also warned that in the next 2 or 3 days, there will be heavy rainfall, and there will also be a thunderstorm. So we must be careful to ensure that we be our brother's keeper. We watch your neighbors. Don't say, this is the government responsibility. Government will not come to every neighborhood. But if you see somebody who is doing what's supposed to, what he or she is supposed not to, call them to order and call them to caution, to let them know that what you are doing in the long run, we will be the one to suffer it. So we must be friendly with our environment. We must dispose our refuse accordingly and ensure that the needful is done, as at Wendy.
Okay, we're moving away from the environment and other basic amenities now. We're looking at education and, of course, health in Lagos. These are key pillars of any thriving city. Are our public schools equipped enough, you know, with this population we have?
Well, in terms of education, you and I know that people still make reference to Alhaji Lateef Jakonde. Why?
Because we are beneficiaries.
That is it. So how come that people still make reference to late Chief Obafemi Awolowo? You know how many years Awolowo died? You know how many years Awolowo was the premier of Western region? When we all, you know, how come? How come that people still showcase them? How come that people still talk about Alhaji Lateef Jakonde as if we have not had some other governors or some other president, as the case may be? Because the records are there. Most of our leaders today enjoy free education under the reign of late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. And it's not a rocket science. Not that we don't have the money to also do the same thing they did then.
But we should consider the population then.
We are coming
what
to
we
that.
have now.
Well, we also consider that we are also increasing the revenue generation.
Okay.
So it depends on misplaced priority. I don't see any government in this nation of today, 36 states, and even the FCT, that cannot implement free education, particularly primary and secondary school. We can argue it. Now that they're even receiving more of a federal allocation, now that they're even generating more of a IGR, internal generated revenue. Lagos, for example, I'm sure Lagos is doing doing about 60 billion or thereabout on a monthly basis. And I know that Lagos is also getting up to about from FAC on a monthly basis, maybe roughly 15-20 billion naira. So what are we talking about? Though they are also doing something in that regard, but I'm saying emphatically that there is no state now in Nigeria that shouldn't do free education at primary and even at secondary school level. There is no state. And I give it to Governor Soludo of Anambra State, former CBN governor. Education is free in Anambra State. We can fact check it. I don't know any other state per se. We are even in Lagos. Education, it's not totally free.
We have free education
we
in
have
Lagos.
Free, okay, but implementation, in that regard, I'm not sure it's totally free. I'm not sure it's totally free, but I can say categorically of Anambra State. I'm not saying that Lagos is also not doing
totally
well.
free. In which areas
totally
of this
free,
education?
like you don't pay any fee at all, no fee pay. You can Google, you can fact check for Anambra State.
Okay.
But I know for Lagos, of course, maybe school uniforms are given free, and we can also see some local government also assisting. They also complement the effort of the state government in that regard. Yes. Free uniform, free school bags. Of course, we have seen many of the local governments,
most of their children are in
private
schools.
Enjoying it. So the beauty of a country, and for any country to develop, economical wise, you must pay attention to education. You must pay attention to health, because a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. If your population is growing and people are not, productive maximally, you won't get results. But if government accords priority to education and also health, because a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. So definitely, it will even be in the long run beneficial to such a government. You offer free education. I'm at rest that I don't have to pay for my children to go to school, their books, all of them are settled. All of these people enjoy free education. So how come it's so difficult now to implement it? All of them, all together, from our president to all our governors across the state, they all enjoy free education. Even something at university level, they all enjoy free education. And even at university level, they enjoy free education. It is not rocket science. Let's say it the way it is. It is not, and they have the money. But because of misplaced priority, because of white elephant project that most of them also embark upon, is the reason why they also foreclose the area in which they're supposed to pay utmost attention. Education, health, environment, housing. I don't see any reason why we still see people sleeping under the bridge. You go everywhere across our country, not just in Lagos. You see people homeless. You see people, and the rate of which even our landlord are also are not helping in that regard. And that's why I also welcome the idea of the monthly payment of rent. But people will also ask you a question. If you want to pay monthly, go and look for government house. And the government house are also not cheap.
They're not cheap.
They are not cheap. So you have to practice what you preach. If you are saying that landlord in my state should collect rent on a monthly basis, government should also be the one to showcase it first. Government must be the one to say, okay, the house that we have built, okay, those who does not have a house, come and occupy this house and pay on a monthly basis. If government does not do that, how come government will now compel me that I use my money
to build
my
house
to say it is not? Who does that? It is not done. Let us say it the way it is. Government must show example and practice what they preach. That's when they can now, we citizens can now say, oh, see what Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is doing in Lagos State too. You can now see all those housing projects, that has been constructed across the state. Ikorodu, Ekpe, Ikeja, all the 5 divisions of the state, Badagry, Ibejuleki. People are there.
But you also said
They
that
gave it out to people.
Okay.
You know, because it is our government money.
Okay.
It's our state money. It's our commonwealth.
Okay.
The money does not belong to the president. Neither does it belong to the governor.
They give it out.
It is our commonwealth.
They give it out to people.
And that's what I'm saying is, I think most of these projects started with even when our current president was the governor of this state. This housing, because you know, we started from talking about the growing population of the state.
Population.
You need shelter.
Yes.
And that's why I said you can now come in. You are not coming to my town. That governor does not need to go to sleep at 12 o'clock because you are catering for over 25 million people. You must develop an edict. If you know you are the governor of a state like Lagos and you are going to sleep at 8 o'clock, that means you are not doing your work. 24 hours even is not even enough for a governor of Lagos State. 24 hours is, I say categorically, is not enough because there are so much of enormous challenges that we face on a daily basis, and that answers must be given to them. People are asking, where are the houses? People are asking the potable water that we used to enjoy. We don't, you know, I know they are doing something at Ajion Waterworks, and I know recently our governor also visited that place for an inspection on how far work has done. And I think they'll be doing about 70,000 barrels per day. But when it will start, is where we are, you know, where we are waiting for.
Okay, I'm glad that we've touched all the important sectors, you know, and how it affects the lives and, of course, the growing population here in Lagos. Now, as a media practitioner, you've covered all these issues extensively from all you have said. Now, what role does the media now play in shaping, you know, conversations around accountability and, of course, infrastructure?
Beautiful question. The media sets the agenda for the society. And that's the reason why they call us the fourth estate of the realm. We know we have the executive, legislative, and the judiciary. But should I say by paraventure, we also had the media as the fourth leg of that, because whether we like it or not, it is the media that serve as the watchdog of every other, you know, segment of that government, whether executive arm, whether legislative arm, whether the judiciary arm of government, so that we can see high level of transparency and accountability. It is the purpose of the media. And exactly what we are doing now, we are doing advocacy. We are doing enlightenment as regards how we can make our state better, as regards how we can make our country better. So that means the media, that means the LTV is also functioning well in this regard. So it is the role of the media to ensure that in an areas where those in government are not doing well, we call their attention to it. It's not that we don't like them or we are against them or we are, no, we are not, you know, we are just telling them that Mr. President, Mr. Governor, Mr. Commissioner or Mr. Council Chairman, as the case may be, this is the mandate given to you. And moreover, when you are coming into power, you told us, you promised us that you build mansion on the sea. Now, even on the ground floor, you never even build one. And you know, politicians are so sweet mouths. When they are campaigning, they will promise us, they will tell us that don't worry, when you elect me, I will build mansion in the sky. Whereas the ground are even level, they never even build. So those are some of the roles that the media needs to play. And again, this one we are also talking about the need for sanction, the need for enforcement of the law. Because ignorance of the law is not an excuse. And that's why we see so much of laxity in our environment. People take things for granted and people do things believing that nobody will catch me, nobody will, no sanction, no deterrent. So the media must also point it out that if you violate this law, these are the punishment and these are the consequences. You know, so those are the areas I think the media, and again, on the final note, the media must also let us know that we citizens of the country, we also have responsibility. The same way those who we have surrendered our mandate to, those who have given our mandate to represent us, the same way they have a responsibility to us, we also have responsibilities to them, because it should be a symbiotic relationship. They can't do it all alone. Those who are governing us, put them together from Mr. President, Vice President, ministers, governors, commissioners, all of them. I'm not sure they are up to about 50,000. We are talking of a population of well over 200 million. So if our country is good, it is not because of those people in government. It is because of the larger members of the society. But if our country is bad, you cannot point accusing fingers at Mr. President or at Mr. Governor. Because if you point one, the remaining four is coming back at me. If I'm pointing an accusing finger to Mr. President that he has not done well, what has been my role in ensuring that we have a better society? What has been your role? So it is a symbiotic relationship, and we must also play our role in ensuring that we have a better society and Nigeria becomes a good place for all of us to live.
Thank you very much, Taiwo Olapade, media practitioner, as you've shed so much light on Lagos' growing population and the impact it has on our infrastructure. Lagos remains the place of hope. It remains, a place of promise and a place of opportunities. Let us all work together to make sure Lagos remains that in our minds and in our hearts. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, the conversation continues.